Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to delve into the world of high fashion couture. That is the House of Gucci, and I'm going to show you a little bit of the Gucci Fall Winter 2021 runway fashion show, because a lot of people don't understand. A lot of it is telling a story. They do rituals. A lot of them are in museums, in temples. So I've been just watching a couple of them, and some of their items are just so strange that I just had to do a vid to show you guys. This is from this show here I'm going to show. I did one on Louis Vuitton as well. I don't buy any of this crap because you go into the history, you know this stuff is evil. They're using slave labor. They're praying over it to make people like totally enamored. They're using enchantments to make you want to spend $1,000 on something stupid, right? When there's many alternatives. You don't need a lot of, you don't have to buy top shelf everything. If you want to buy a nice pair of shoes, there's plenty of designers that have good quality stuff without being a total punch in your gut, right? For $1,500. So pretentious. There's so much more that we could be spending our money on, and like the comments are so funny. They're like, the suits, the coats, the shoes, everything about this fashion show is unforgettable. It's like totally like a church service. And when I showed the one on Louis Vuitton in the Louvre Museum, it was all of their idols, all of this stuff that's an abomination to the true creator of the universe, right? Everyone wants to emulate just the craziest things in the show and where they're taking the fashion. Everyone is so emaciated. They don't look like they're in a good mood. A lot of these models are MK Ultra victims, and they're being abused right before they get put on stage. There was a lot of talk, like Michael Jackson came out, and a lot of their interviews and stuff. Like, there have been even musicians, celebrities, you name it, who have come out and talked about these topics, right? Big time, right? So in Europe, they do a lot of funky stuff too. And of course, over here, everyone's so influenced by ancient Rome and Greece, don't realize, like, man, total medieval bull crap. And yeah, everywhere you go, we're like in this matrix where they lie to you. Even in the car this morning, first of all, there's no need for radios in a car. Don't you notice that? Like, all it does is distract you. Like, that's how much they want to brainwash you. Does that help the vehicle? No. But it came on today where they were trying to chuckle, like, ho, 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 like trying to be jokers and say, like, oh, there was a poll that, people really thought that the Game of Thrones was really based on history a few centuries ago. Like, that was such a big joke. Like, people are stupid. So they put these jokers, which the biggest joke is their lives, their existence, right? Because they're just a bunch of sellouts. Just they all chant the same stuff no matter what station, to make you think that they're not emulating stuff that happened way in history, that's been depicted in history. And they always show like a story, like in the Louvre Museum, they culminated to the goddess Nike or whatever. So I'm like, what is the spirit of all of this too? And the Savoy Club, they're wearing gear that says Savoy Club. It goes back to a hotel, okay, I believe in England. So, I'll make certain connections, but I mean, you could really delve into some of these shows or whatever, because they had like this strange bag that is supposedly so popular, and there's a movie based on Gucci and how their family is literally cursed. I mean, they broke up over greed, over all of this stuff, and then you just see that like you're cursed too. I mean, people think that they look so good just because it has a certain brand name on it. That's not true. The best way to be stylish is to wear things that are appropriate for you, your age, your size, your skin tone. You play around with certain things, and no one's going to be running up to you looking at your tags like, what are you like? And if they are, their life is so vacuous. that they're under a spell, and that's not something to emulate. It's really, really shameful that people want to spend their money on this. So let's watch a little. And yeah, I'm going to take you on a little ride. Definitely, all of these are like a trip when you watch them. And I'm not gonna lie, this first beat is actually pretty banging. I'm not hating on this beat at all. Oh, of course my printer. Oh, settle down. These electronics are alive, but that beat is banging. I guess my printer likes it too. But the clothes, no, and how they're making everyone androgynous and stuff. And you can't even tell who's a man and who's a woman in this. So it's just showing you this blurring of the lines. It's just how it was in these old traditions. I'm sure it was. Like, that's not a manly look. That's not an improvement on the man. And they're making it where, like, even the ones in the skirts, like, you see the jawline, and anyone will tell you in forensics, in anthropology, that when you find someone's bones, and that's what determines, like, a man and a woman, when there's nothing left of them and stuff, because a man's jaw is broader, and it's a little bit bigger, and there's actual certain markers. So they really push this in the fashion world, which we already know is satanic. I mean, you see some of these designers, they're off the wall. A lot of them are pedophiles. Everyone's so quick to look at the politicians and forget the entertainment arm of the military industrial complex, which is, music industry, the media, movies, and fashion. The star of the show is coming out. These new bags. Look at what they're holding, and it gets even more like, Alice in Wonderland type of vibe. But look what she's holding in her hand as a clutch. A heart. So this new bag that they're debuting. Yeah, like, what real woman? And look how pissed off they look. They look like they're being, starved. They've probably been starved for God knows how long to put in these stupid, tacky clothes, I mean, maybe a coat here and there may look okay, but the way they put it all together, and it's like it should be made to look like a horse, there's like chains and stuff. So they tell a story with like the type of clothes and where they're going. In this season, they're going very equestrian, dominatrix, human sacrifice, eating your heart out, like literally eating your heart out, because a lot of these designers, how do you think they maintain their youth and what they do? And a lot of these victims, they want your children in these modeling competitions. They're always looking for fresh meat, so none of them are safe. And I think it actually looks better, right, if they were to smile a little and show that they were at least comfortable having a good time. But they all look like vacant, like they were like beat the hell up or electroshocked. So look at no woman wants to walk around holding a melon in her hand. So it's in the shape of a heart, a human heart, very anatomical, right? And this is supposed to be the big thing for the season. It's probably the only outfit that I thought was decent was this one. Like, those guys look like, what freaking self-possessed person wants to wear that? Is that showing his midriff, or is that like a nude thing? And he's wearing this fluffy thing that, no, this is not cute, but that's like they are actually socially engineering a whole generation by these stupid satanic fashion shows, which do have the influence as a cult-like church, right? Because they have all the pomp and circumstance, right? And then the people are left there very, they have an impression on them, and that they start to emulate these principles. Oh, there's a red and blue one. So they're showing you different ones or whatever. This one, very colorful. So yeah, I'm just going to show you a little bit of like this type of stuff they're holding in their hands, because the props, even these little ceremonies, they're all telling a story where they want to take humanity, whatever's going behind the scenes. It gives you so I'm learning a lot just watching certain fashion shows from, these high-end, supposedly, influencers, the real so-called influencers. Did you see that guy wear a belt as a tie? I can't. I think he was wearing a belt. And it's like, yeah, it may look like a woman, but like that song, Dude Looks Like a Lady, because you don't understand. In the fashion world in Hollywood, they already ascribe to Gnosticism. Like, they believe that Adam and Eve was like two parts of oneself. Like, you need to literally transgender yourself toward that's salvation to them. That's how they feel complete, like a god, you understand? So this actually is a belief system in itself, and it's perpetuated through the fashion. And then, because no real woman in history is walking around with their boobies hanging out like that with a man's shirt. So, only a man's really comfortable with that. Yeah, they can take hormones, and you'll see a lot of them with the fake boobs, and they're the ones who are so bold to do that because they were born male, and that comes naturally to them. And you see this very square jawline. That's what I was going with it. And they do that. They're really big on that, and you need to check the history on the androgynous, different type of pagan gods that are in mythology too. So this one's holding a white rabbit. I thought that was fascinating, like Alice in Wonderland. A lot of symbology, comes out of the blue with the white rabbit. And they all got those whips in their hands, either a bag, those weird bags. So it's almost like, it's telegraphing a message. Looks like he's carrying a human heart or an organ. You know how these organ places be doing people. But they're so skinny and they're so rude. It's like they're giving you a dirty look or a vacuous look. So I just found it funny, and it's like a lot of the clothes are just strange, and of course it's all like false idol worship, because you got people there like, but they're telling a story. This is for fair use, for education, and they either holding that whip or that weird heart bag. And they're all wearing that stupid septum ring on the nose. Almost goes back to the time of Moses and Aaron in the Old Testament with the calf, with that bull, because they really do look like one. Oh yeah, did you see that guy? I mean, he's wearing his grandmother's clothes, and this is supposed to be, haute couture. This is supposed to be high fashion. Gross. Sorry, not sorry. So she has the heart bag in her hand, so it's coming up again. Yeah, they're always giving dirty looks, like they're trying to tell you, help me, save me, but then at the end, and it always culminates into something. Then at the end, they go into this door. You got the white horse reference. It's a very, very interesting. Well, they're definitely in some type of parallel realm, but they do push the white horse a lot in a lot of these shows and everywhere, and also the pale horse, the black, the red, the four horsemen of the apocalypse type of deal. So they do like to reference it, and this was the conquering horse, so this is like telegraphing their conquering humanity. Yeah, they're conquering humanity, trying to make everybody homosexual. Pretty soon it's going to be deemed like so frowned upon to be straight anymore, right? It's almost like they can get away with making fun of straight people, but when you say something about them, they got a freaking issue and they want to cry victim. Well, we can start doing the same then, because it took a mother and a father to create them, right? But when you push these ideologies and they're holding the heart, so there's just a lot being said in all of this. I'm sure there's other people out there that can break it down further, but it just came across my attention and it was so trippy. And of course, if everybody became this way, how would humanity go on and proliferate? It's like, is that their sacrifice to their false gods? I don't know. It's very ritualistic. So you got Gucci, Areia. So I'm like, what is up with this heart purse? So I looked it up. Very interesting. They kind of give you, I don't think it's for sale yet. I'm not sure if they even debuted it. But let's just, read a little bit. And then, of course, I got really interested, like, what is Areia? And it makes you, so I looked it up. So here we go with this. This is supposed to be something you're supposed to want. I mean, look at the faces of these people. Do they look happy? Look at their eyes. I mean, they're telling a story within a story. So it says the Gucci's Areia collection was an avalanche of references and quotes in perfect Alessandro Michel style. Among the references to hedonism of the Tom Ford era, hacking Balenciaga silhouettes and details that evoked the heritage of the brand. One of the most interesting items was an anatomical clutch in the shape of a heart, presented both in glittery version covered with rhinestones and an enameled version, wherein both men and women's looks. Oh, I'm sure. So that's like their, you can go into it, their aesthetic. Oh, it's, they call it a mid-artery, which is like a casket. Of course they're going to use that ghouly ghoul because, a lot of people don't get all the damn cannibalism that went on in history. And yeah, all this stuff is documented, intermixed with Christianity because they want you to drink the blood and eat the flesh of the so-called Jesus, right? Sorry, I'm all about the Old Testament. Don't go there. I totally woke up to the deception. of like, worshiping a sacrificed man. That sounds like pretty creepy, So yeah, here you go. So yeah, they have all this very pretentious stuff, and it goes into the history of it, and they even tell you that it's connected to like mythology. I mean, oh, okay, they give you a chain so you can hold. That thing will like bust so fast, guys. Like you can't even put like anything in there. Can that even sustain any weight? And it says the choice was certainly due to the desire to create a suggestive and somewhat weird accessory on par with the septum jewelry seen wearing many of the models. That was a compromise solution between the fin de Cecily luxury loved by Michel and his taste for a styling of an esoteric flavor, of course, because they're all into like this stuff. It's all symbolic, and then they keep putting heart in quotes, so that's kind of strange. And it says it indicates the passion for the brand in its wide. Funny how they use mythology, right? At the end of the show, in which the models are in a sort of Garden of Eden, yeah, they're a twisted upside down, dark version of it. A woman dressed as Marilyn Monroe throws it upwards, giving it back to the universe. As Michel himself told Business of Fashion. So, yeah, it's very, very biblical for people who think that, they just flip it because they're a bunch of real leftists, which is Satanists. They can only take what the real creator of the universe made and just flip it on its head. And that's what they do with a lot of this stuff, So it's called Gucci's, and they talk about how, Tom Ford, I guess I missed where it said that, showing how it was like a type of fashion that he was pushing, some type of like horror fashion. Like these, some of these people are almost naked, and it's not supposed to be something you wear outdoors, but I guess with the advent of that movie, Sex in the City, where you got those middle-aged ladies wearing their undergarments, I guess it didn't show it in this one, but it was talking about, Tom Ford and like his influence, that he really, really gucked it up. Maybe it was under the Gucci, because when you go into like, the family, you'll find a lot of references, that, they had a lot of issues because of all this wealth, so this is the founder, Guccio Gucci. And it says he was working at the Savoy Hotel, so that's a whole other road to go down, which is a luxury hotel located in the Strand in the city of Westminster in central London, England. They show you like Savoy Club this, Savoy Club that. And then it tells you about the family, what happened. Gucci and his wife, Ada Calvelli, married in 1901 and had 6 children, 5 sons and 1 daughter. His son Ugo Calvelli Gucci was adopted, born from his mother Ada Calvelli's previous relationship. His son Enzo died in childhood. See, they're always plagued with stuff like that. His sons Vasco, Aldo, Ugo, and Rodolfo Gucci held prominent roles in his company, and his daughter was not given a role. There was a lot of sibling rivalry to hold power within the company, and by the 1980s, this became a serious issue, dividing the family, okay? So there's just a lot of bad energy associated with the House of Gucci, and they do have that movie. I guess they go into it a little bit, and they, just tell you so much of what's going on with the family feud, and how they called it the porno chic revival. And it said Dawn Mello was hired in November 1989 as Gucci's executive vice president and chief designer. She reduced the number of stores from plus 1,000 to 180 in a move to rebuild the brand's exclusivity. She also reduced the number of items sold by Gucci from 22,000 to 7,000. She revived the bamboo bag and the Gucci loafer. She moved Gucci's headquarters back from Milan to Florence, where the history of Gucci is deeply rooted. Dawn Mello hired Tom Ford to oversee the women's ready-to-wear collection. In 1994, Tom Ford was named creative director of Gucci. Ford and Mello revisited the 1970s archives of the brand. Ford's 1995 collection, which included the sensual white dresses with provocative cutouts, became an instant hit. Revived through the hot bod hedonism, see, that goes back to the Greek times, which they're pushing so bad. And of course, Rome, from Milan to Florence, where the Gucci also launched provocative products in limited edition, such as silver handcuffs, a G-string, and provocative ad campaigns such as the G logo shaved on pubic hair. And look at that gaudy, nasty dress. Who's buying that? It goes to show, like, these wicked sodomite men, these abominations, the Most High called them an abomination because, can't even act right, It's like you're created one way, You don't see your car trying to be a boat. You don't see a monkey trying to be an elephant. But here we go. Everybody tries to be what they're not and wants acceptance for it, right? And then they go into this post-gender geek chic. So, that's, I guess, the whole androgynous, everyone's wearing like the same crap. They're calling that the post-gender. Yeah, a lot of it's just not my taste. Sorry if you think I'm so whatever. But human cannibalism, it just made me think of so much that, we can do a whole another vid on that it's rooted so much in history. Because when you think of like them holding the heart, it's almost like they're holding the heart of their enemies. And it says in some societies, cannibalism is a cultural norm. Consumption of a person from within the same community is called endo-cannibalism. Ritual cannibalism of the recently deceased can be part of the grieving process or be seen as a way of guiding the souls of the dead into the bodies of living descendants. Exo-cannibalism is the consumption of a person from outside the community, usually as a celebration of victory against a rival tribe. Both types of cannibalism can also be fueled by the belief that eating a person's flesh or internal organs will endow the cannibal with some of the characteristics of the deceased. And this happened a lot in history. We can go down this road another time. I don't want to make this video too long, but when you the corpse is already dead, it's called necro-cannibalism, eating the corpse of someone who's already dead, as opposed to homicidal cannibalism, killing someone for food. In English law, the latter is always considered a crime, even in the most trying circumstances. The case of R. versus Dudley and Stevens, in which two men were found guilty of murder for killing and eating a cabin boy while adrift at sea in a lifeboat, set the precedent that necessity is no defense to a charge of murder. So this is already like done in history, even in the medical field, which I found it so interesting. A lot of people have kuru. That could be a lot of people's problems. Like, people want to laugh, ho ho ho, this stuff didn't happen in history, and they wonder why there's like so much craziness, and that there's been depictions, and that, some scholars, it's just even in the medical practices. And it says in 2003, a publication in Science received a large amount of press attention when it suggested that early humans may have practiced extensive cannibalism. So they already have, and it's been carried out mostly by explorers and stranded seafarers or escaped convicts, okay? And also, like, the different types, when you go into, like, the early history, many different cultures have been known to do this. I mean, they try to say, just the ones that we know about, but there's just so many, and we've known in history too, and it says cannibalism features in the folklore and legends of many cultures and is most often attributed to evil characteristics or as extreme retribution for some wrongdoing. Examples include the witch in Hansel and Gretel, Lamia of Greek mythology, and Baba Yaga of Slavic folklore. A number of stories of Greek mythology involve cannibalism, in particular cannibalism of close family members. The stories of Thyestes, Turius, and especially Kronos, who is Saturn in the Roman pantheon. The story of Tantalus also parallels this. And people, this is no joke, because what do you think Christmas is based on? I'm just saying, you're going to see a spike of people go missing like usual, and everybody's just with their head in the sand. I mean, when they say in showbiz, eat your heart out, no, they really want to eat your heart out. And Saturnalia, if you don't think that's where they get the whole Santa Claus idea from, of course, because how there's just so many instances of it, how it's mentioned, and people that are so-called white people used to be called so-called man-eaters as well. Scythia, there you go, says early history. Cannibalism is mentioned many times in early history and literature. Herodotus in the Histories, 450s to the 420s BCE, claimed that after 11 days' voyage in the Borsithanes, Dnieper in Europe, a desolated land extended for a long way, and later the country of the man-eaters, other than Scythians, was located, and beyond it again, a desolated area extended where no men lived. The tomb of ancient Egyptian Unas contained a hymn in praise to the king, portraying him as a cannibal. The Stoic philosopher Chrysippus wrote in his treatise on justice that cannibalism was ethically acceptable. Polybius records that Hannibal Monomachus once suggested to the Carthaginian general Hannibal that he teach his army to adopt cannibalism. Is this where we get the movie Hannibal Lecter? In order to be properly supplied in his travel to Italy, although Barca and his officers could not bring themselves to practice it. In the same way, Gaius Terentius Varro once claimed to the citizens of Capua that Barca's Gaul and Spanish mercenaries fed on human flesh. I mean, you can really go into it. Also, cannibalism was reported by Josephus during the siege of Jerusalem by Rome in 70 CE. Jerome, in his letter against Jovinianus, discusses how people come to their present condition as a result of their heritage, and he then lists several examples of people and their customs. In the list, he mentions that he has heard that Arakati eat human flesh, and that Mazagatie, wow, which is in the Iran area, guys. So, like, look at all these different tribes from these different areas, okay? In the areas that they, currently do different fashion shows, nothing has changed. Like, these people are still doing these crazy practices today. And that's why when people think, oh, when I get my gallbladder taken out, this and that, all these people are so crazy. Never get your organs taken out. You think they're throwing it in the trash? You don't think that they're storing it somewhere and eating it for dinner? You don't have enough imagination. And it says reports of cannibalism were recorded during the First Crusade, as crusaders were alleged to have fed on the bodies of their dead opponents. Following the siege of Marara, Amin Malouf also alleges further cannibalism incidents on the march to Jerusalem, and to the effects made to delete mention of these from Western history. During Europe's Great Famine of 1315 to 1317, there were many reports of cannibalism among the starving populations. In North Africa, as in Europe, there are references to cannibalism of at least, last resorts of time of famine. And there's a Gough cave too, guys, which is in that area in Europe. I mean, we can go into that another time. So many references, guys, but it just shows there's a lot going on there. Human remains showing that there was indeed evidence of this. Gough's cave. And it's crazy. In some parts of the cave, they actually make cheddar cheese. I think that's so creepy. And it has, cheddar Yeo, which is the largest underground river system in Britain. So it has this strange cave. Look at the pictures, huh, guys? I guess it's open to the public too. I'm good. You want to go? That's great. But the cave contains skeletal remains of both humans and animals, all showing cut marks and breakage consistent with defleshing and eating. That's really nice, guys. Skull fragments represent from 5 to 7 humans, including a young child of about 3 years and 2 adolescents. The brain cases appear to have been prepared as drinking cups or containers, a tradition found in other Magdalenian sites across Europe. In 1903, the remains of a human male, since named Cheddarman, were found a short distance inside Gough's cave. He is Britain's oldest complete human skeleton, having been dated to approximately 7150 BC. His genetic markers suggested, based on their associations in modern populations whose phenotypes are known, that he probably had green eyes, lactose intolerant, dark curly or wavy hair, and less certainly dark to very dark skin. Very crazy, guys. This is in the Mentip Hills in Cheddar, Somerset. Look at that. Of course, they worship the damn dragon. And we have a Somerset, Massachusetts, right over the bridge where I live. Okay, it's right next door to Fall River, and they think they're all that, and they are freaking crazy. They live in the same, depressing area, and we share the same cursed Taunton River together, and they have this power plant right next door, and they think, oh, we're great. It's yeah, they're just deceived, right? And everything is just named after all of these places, so don't think it's any different. And then when I searched, the term aria, it says melody for a single voice, 1775, from Italian aria, literally air. Historically considered, the aria marks a single moment in the course of a dramatic action. Yeah, it's pretty dramatic when you freaking eat someone's heart out. But there is a person named Areia. It's in mythology, and a lot of times they have this hair, so it is some type of entity or goddess. Sometimes they go by Ariadne or Ariadne. Yeah, and I guess this is a painting from 1877 in Naxos. And then when you go down, they have this, enchantress, Areia. So like this is the spirit they're working with, right? It's like what, she got the whole world in her hands. And like these comic freaks don't realize like, hey, you're just worshiping the same crap of the days of old. They think they're so, non-superstitious. They're so quick to talk about Christians like they're not all one and the same. Like they're not going to go celebrate their Saturnalia / Christmas in a couple of weeks. So another way of saying it is Areia, like that. In Greek mythology, and it means warlike. Yep, see how they're declaring war on humanity? Or Areia was the Cretan, which is another word for freaking Christian, and like the different stuff that goes on. And Christian synchronism, as they call it. I learned a lot from an awesome teacher out there called Lex Will. Really great teacher, breaks it all down, a lot of this deception. I'm just putting in, from my angle, the stuff that I learned, and it does complement a lot of great teachers already out. And so already, showed, and this number 88 comes a lot. Think of Back to the Future. They're always pushing 88, 88. So Crete is the largest and most populous of the Greek islands, the 88th largest island in the world. So I wonder the practices there, she was a nymph daughter, these so-called deities or these demons or whatever, some type of entity, but warlike, definitely something that's unleashed to disperse war, like that white horse, to go forth and conquer. Maybe this is like the form of judgment. I don't know. Definitely just doing, my own hypothesis. Daughter of Cleocus, she became the mother by Apollo of Miletus. So when Areia gave birth to her son, she hid him in a bed of Similac. Wow, that sounds like Similac, guys, the baby formula. Similac, very close. Cleocus found the child there and named him Miletus after the plant. So that is an actual character, guys, in case you didn't know. And it just made me think of Revelation 6:2 with that white horse. Makes you think of like Christianity, how it conquered and killed people. But, maybe like the world was being so wicked, and, the Most High's people, the real Israelites, which people are already shown that they are the Native Americans, the Aztecs, the Hebrews have been mislabeled so many times, and now they just called black, right? But, they fell away from the Most High. So there's like just so many intermittent stories. Obviously, the Most High, the creator of all, made everything and everybody, and he controls the good and the bad, right? So I just don't know. I'm just showing you that they do put the white horse, and it is biblical. And Revelation 6:2, look, a white horse, and the one seated on it had a bow, was given to him. And then they go into, Revelation 19:11, which comes up a lot. And, a lot of people could say, oh, that's the Jesus figure or whatever. Maybe because, a lot of people were forced under the sword to bow down and worship this sacrificed entity. Am I freezing? The sacrifice entity, because that was the Roman way, right? This is very, very indicative to what's going on now. Why do there's so many people now who are still practicing Christianity? It's so convoluted, because in the Bible it says many are called, few are chosen, but there is like billions of people, 1 point whatever billion Christians, and what has happened under that type of banner, okay? The system that we live under, the oppression that certain people are getting, and that everyone is getting now, right? Because if you don't, just look up the blue laws, they put these forced unholy days, and it's even still written in the books. I was looking up the Massachusetts blue laws. I mean, this shows you that the Roman Catholicism still controls, this cult still controls what we see today, because they push it in all of this fashion show. They make you love it, not making you realize, like, all the atrocities under these empires, right? And now, they make you bow down to these false entities that can't save you, make you an abomination to your creator. And then when you go to the other side, what happens to your soul? Who's going to judge your soul? These designers, these entities, these models are not doing okay. They're being starved. They're being abused. This one, I don't know the connection, because it says, whoever sat on it is faithful and true. Maybe to the Most High's agenda to, like, be a snare to the population. Everybody, like, wants a king so much, when the creator of all, he should be our king. He's the God of all gods. He's the king that we need in our life. So he's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to give you one that's going to conquer you and make you subservient to the regime at hand. So it's just really interesting, because then when you go into the, just this whole Gucci fashion show and how they're promoting it, you can't tell me it's not a ritual. So I'm going to cut this short, guys. I'll leave you with this. Blessed be the Lord, my rock, who trains my hands for war, my fingers for battle. Psalms 144:1. And my Diadash, my primary channel, will be off its time out tomorrow. I got one more day. It's on its last strike, so I had to put this Diadash 2.0. So if anything happens with this channel, I'll just go to 3.0, 4.0, whatever. But I'll put some content on that tomorrow, and I'll put a link below to that. And check me out on my different forums, also on eBay. Thank you so much. But this really makes you think when they say, eat your heart out, in these fashion world, and people are really going to spend all their money. I don't know how much this stupid bag's going to be. I hope people are not crazy enough to buy it, but they're so quick to throw their money on this stuff. And then when you ask them to buy, like, healthy products or to take care of their health themselves, they don't want to do that. They don't want to spend money that can actually really help them and change their life. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars to look good. You can still look like trash and spend $5,000 on a wardrobe, okay? If it doesn't go with your body, if it's very racy, a lot of this comes from the minds of a lot of sick, perverted men who don't even want women, but are going to tell you what's sexy for a woman to dress like. People really should think about that before they go, blowing their money. We've all been there. We all got suckered a time or two. I never blew any big money. I never buy Gucci or Louis Vuitton. I think that's so pretentious. A lot of this stuff's ugly, and I found better stuff and better quality, and I like supporting smaller businesses too. We're supposed to get away from all these corporations. So I hope that was interesting. I will be off my timeout tomorrow. And just, there's just a lot that goes into this, guys. But I'll leave you with this verse. Then we're not going to be deterred when they try to shadow ban us and do what they do. We'll just keep coming back stronger, because the truth will be heard. So have a great day, and thank you for viewing.